Daily Juice, Anna is here, and so let's talk about how can you get ready to buy a home and what are some steps you can take to get that down payment ready. So I wanted to kind of run down and give you some suggestions today, because buying a home is going to be probably one of the biggest purchases that you will ever make, maybe once or twice or three times in your lifetime. And so I want that to be a smart, thought through, strategic decision. So here are some things that I recommend for you to think about. Number one, don't overspend, okay? Because that is where we get into trouble of being what's called house poor, right? And so the first thing to think about is, can you work it backwards, right? Do you have, and working it backwards, I mean, look at your cash flow. Do you have a spending plan in place so you can actually see what will it take for your new purchase, right, to equate, or maybe not even equate, because rent payment does not equal to mortgage payment, as many of you know, because there are a lot more and a lot higher expenses. Hi, Debbie, good to have you here. There are a lot higher expenses associated with owning a home versus renting, okay? So work it backwards. Do you have an emergency fund in place? Because that's the thing that not only lender is going to want to look at, but you want to make sure that in case you get yourself, approved for a loan and something happens, you lose your job, you get sick, how are you going to carry forward that debt, and how are you going to make sure that you can actually pay it? So I suggest having a healthy emergency fund. How is your credit score? Are you going to be able to qualify for a better rate? So maybe that's something you need to work on first. What about your other debts? Where do they come into play when you're thinking about buying a home? Okay, so don't overspend it, because that's going to come biting you in the behind. Hi, Rhiannon, good to have you. Now, let's think about setting a down payment goal. So is it going to be 5%? Is it going to be 10%? Hi, David. Good to have you here. Is it going to be 15% or 20%? So what is it that you actually want to have as your target goal? And again, also, let's work it backwards. How much time will you take to actually save enough for that amount, okay? So the other side of things is, how are you going to fund it? Some of you already own residencies, and perhaps you're going to want to sell, right? Get the equity out and use that to fund your next purchase. Some of you don't have residencies that you're going to sell, so that means you have to start somewhere. Maybe you've already accumulated enough funds, right? So that actually works out to be a starting point. Maybe you're starting from scratch and you're starting from zero. Doesn't matter where you are. I think the steps to getting to that point are probably the same for everybody. So work it backwards, right? What's the goal? Is it going to be 5%, 10%, 15, or 20%, or even more? If that's what you're trying to accomplish. Because the idea of a healthy down payment comes down to you actually being able to cash flow, right? And being able to afford this loan. Because again, as I said at the beginning, the very last thing I want you to do is actually be house poor, okay? Now, the other thing is that also prudent to think about, hi Victor, good to have you here, is to establish a timeline. So how long is it going to take for you to accomplish this, right? So is it realistic for you to save 20% for home down payment in the San Francisco Bay Area, where average home price is probably over $1 million? So how fast are you going to do it? And again, work it backwards. So it's approaching this major purchase should be well through process, right? In terms of what can you afford, what should you put down, and how is it going to affect you and your family on the monthly basis. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, this is Anna and Daily Juice, and thanks for watching.